We have to talk about the InZOI building and how it performs in early access. Now, I have been using the Creator Studios, which you can also check out yourself till the 27th, I think it is. And you can just download that on Steam and then you can use the building feature for yourself. But it is exactly like it will be in early access. Now, there is quite a bit we have to talk about. But before we do, let me make something very clear. Yes, there will be features I will mention where you would probably go, oh, it's like in The Sims. And yes, you're not wrong about that, but most of the features and most of the stuff I will show, I looked at from a complete InZOI perspective. So that means I didn't really want to draw too many comparisons to the other Sims games, and I want to see it as its own thing. So, with that said, when I jumped into the building mechanic, I was a little bit worried because I was fearing that they might use like the interface and the building tools which are coming with Unreal Engine, like the default stuff. The thing is, that's not very good. And most of the time it feels very lazy. But the good news is InZOI is not doing that. InZOI is doing its own thing. And TLDR, it feels good. There are improvements to be made, and there needs to be more stuff. But for early access, this feels already very appropriate. And it is very important for a game like this. I know there are tons of people out there who don't really give a damn about the building feature in other live sim games, right? But there are also tons of people like me who love to spend hours and hours to build the right home. So I was pleasantly surprised when I realized how fast it is to actually draw up walls, to draw up homes from scratch with the tools they're giving you. Like, yes, it took me about 4 hours to put together this little house, but the reality is this was my first time ever doing this in this game. I had to find out how the tools works, what I can do. I was fooling around, and I could probably build this in 2 or 3 hours if I really try hard with everything, right? Which is really good. But yeah, like the standard building feels so good. Drawing up rooms feels really good. Like having multiple levels of a building. Please be aware not to overdo it in early access because it draws performance quite a bit. But it was super easy to do. The only thing the game has a bit of a problem with is rooftops. They don't feel great. They don't look great, and that's definitely one of the few things they still have to improve. But overall, I have been really pleasantly surprised how easy it is to draw the home of your dreams just with the walls and make sure that you have the right amount of rooms. Speaking about rooms, one of the most important questions is probably, well, how much can you fill a room with? With items, with little doodads, and like just other things you want to make it, well, homely, right? And the good news is InZOI already has tons and tons of options. They also have those filters like the living room, the kitchen, the bathroom, and then you will find different items in those categories. And yes, of course, that means that you can mix and match them as much as you want, right? You are not locked in to only use the bathroom items in the bathroom or anything. You could put like some kitchen items, like a refrigerator in your bathroom if you so desire. Or what I did here, I mounted a clock from my bedroom in the living room over the TV, right? So yeah, you can totally do that, and it goes pretty quick. There are tons of items you can use. Um, there are also quite a bit of like usable and non-usable items. Like you can really make your home look like lived in That is one of the problems, and I will mention The Sims here at least once, is that's a problem with The Sims 4 at this point, right? It shows its age because The Sims has not a lot of clutter. They tried to fix that over the years, but it still has a lot of issues. And they are definitely now trying to fix it with Project Renee. And InZOI already has a lot of clutter you can put in all those rooms to make it actually look like as if if there is a person or multiple people living in the house. Now, what we have to talk about is placing items in the game because the game is using a grid system, right? And everything you are placing in the game is using that grid system. And that is very, very important to remember because there are a few ways on how you can tell the game ignore the grid system, and they can lead to problems. So, as I said, you're just putting items on the grid system, right? But then you can also put some other items on top of items, like you can see here with the counter or with the microwave. Like you can put items everywhere, right? And sometimes the game will tell you, hey, this is overlapping. You can already do that. You can see it here with the chair. I'm moving closer to the counter, and the game is like, okay, this is the furthest you would go, and now it would overlap. I do not allow that. The good news is the game has a free building system. So you just have to hold down the Alt key on your keyboard, and then you can freely move the item without using the grid system. And you can even make items overlap with that free building system. It's actually really cool that they have this built in like that, and it makes so many things so much easier. Problem is, there are some items who cannot use the free building system, like the microwave here, for an example. I wanted, you can see that the microwave is looking like it's nearly falling over on the corner. I hated that. And I would have loved to move the microwave a little bit closer to the wall. But if I'm using the grid system, the game is like, this is the furthest you go, and I cannot use the free building system. And it seems like every item you put on a table or a counter or something on top of the other item cannot use the free moving system. But then again, there are some items like curtains and stuff which can do that. It's a little bit weird, and I think this is one of the bigger things they definitely have to figure out. Like, just allow me to really use everything with the free building system, right? Like, it would be so much better. Now, there is another thing we have to talk about, and that is when you are painting or, well, putting in like a rug or something in a room, right? You're choosing a room and you're saying, okay, paint the walls and paint the floor. And what I have done here is I'm using a mixed room, right? I have the living room and I have the kitchen together in one room. And what I wanted is for the kitchen, I wanted to have like ceramic, and for the living room, I wanted to have like a wooden floor. And that's exactly what I did. But to make this happen, I had to trick the system a little bit. Or, well, trying to trick the system, failing at that, and then use the standard method, which is not really great. So you can say paint a whole room in one thing. That's not what you want. What I wanted is I wanted to have this specific area to be something else. So what you have to do is you have to say, okay, I want to paint a single tile, and then you can add more tiles you want to paint at once. You see it here in action in the background. And the problem is there is no drag system. You have to click every single tile you want to add to the painting. And it is so much that even after the small area in the kitchen, I was basically done with it. Like, it was annoying as hell, and I would probably not do it again. And so I tried to trick the system, right? I was drawing a wall to the point where I wanted to have the other floor so that the game thinks, okay, those are now 2 rooms. But when I painted the 2 rooms and removed the wall, the game was like, okay, I would just paint over the other room when I fused them together. And I was like, oh no, damn it. So yeah, you have to do like the clicking with every single tile. I would just love if they're adding like a way on how you can like drag with your mouse cursor all the tiles you kind of want to paint over, and that would be so much faster, right? There's one last thing we have to talk about, and that is a personal gripe of mine. Now I know that there are enough people who will not agree with this, and that's completely fine, but it's something I want to mention anyways, and that is the product placement. I hate product placement. It's advertisement. You are advertising in a game I already paid money for. Like this whole LG, Samsung, and whatnot they are trying to put into the game. I know people will argue, oh, but that adds to the reality, right? And I'm always like, but why do you need that? Like, especially because, like, on the TVs, on the other electronics, you don't even see the Samsung or LG logo. The only time you know that this is an LG product or this is a Samsung product is when you are in the menu and you look at the interface. When you place it, there's no trace of it. So it doesn't really add to the reality of things. It's just advertisement. Like, I know there will be a mod for it to be removed or something like that, but I'm just not a big fan of the product placement they are doing here, right? And yeah, especially when you don't see it in game. I think that's the biggest problem. Like, if you would be able to see the product in game, then maybe, but it's still product placement in the end. But with that said, I have to say that I think they are on a pretty good path when it comes to the building. It already feels really well put together, and they put quite a bit of thought into it. And for early access, it feels good. They are rather small improvements they can still make, and they will make in the time the game is in early access. And so I am very positive about the building aspect of the game. With that said, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like. And also, if you're new to the channel, you want to see more InZOI videos or strategy games, management and building games, which we're focusing here on the channel, I would appreciate if you might consider to subscribe. And I will try to get better in the next few days because I'm still sick, as you might have noticed. So I will go to bed again. So have a good one, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.